Okay, in this episode, we'll show you a way to stay inspired with your learning and continue to be inspired regardless of how many mistakes you make.
All right, guys, we have a very deep thought to share with you today. We have a quote from Mr. Frank Smith, and it has to do with language learning. Here it is. One language sets you in a corridor for life. Two languages open every door along the way.
Wow, that's deep.
That is. But you know, it's true. And it's good to think about this as language learners. And maybe just before we talk about it, I just want to mention that corridor is like a hallway. So in a house or an apartment building, you walk down a hall and you often have doors on each side on the walls. And if you know one language, you can walk down the hallway. But if you know two languages, it will open up the doors or open up opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think this is so true. I mean, for me, going abroad and actually learning the language being abroad has made such a difference in terms of the depth of connections.
Absolutely.
You know, even if you forget the language later, the important thing is that people see that you're learning when
and
you're in that country. And you're trying.
Yeah.
It's just like people's hearts open to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, think about, as a language learner, what that can do for your life. I mean, your career, your social life, in your travels. I mean, how do people react to you when you try to speak their language? And maybe you're not perfect speaking English or another language that you're learning, but people really appreciate that, right? I mean, in general, right? I can't just generalize for everyone, but I think you can open up more opportunities.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, employers like to have people who speak more than one language.
Right. And it just seems like students sometimes are so hard on themselves. So guys, don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself some credit and realize that it's not easy to learn a language.
Right.
So you're out there, you're putting yourself on the line every day, and, you know, native English speakers respect you for it.
Totally.
You know, don't expect perfection.
It's not just about the language either. I think as you learn English, you also learn about the culture through the language, like different ways that we express different ideas, or just the grammar of the language, how it's set up. I mean, when I started learning Spanish, the first thing that we learned was that all the nouns were either masculine or feminine. And
oh man, that's so tough in Spanish.
Right? That's really hard for us to learn. And I'm sure there's things in English that are tough to learn, like the articles, like phrasal verbs, totally. And that's just the way that we express ourselves. But I mean, you'll open your eyes to the culture, especially when you start learning idioms. That's really how you'll learn how people think, right?
Definitely. I think so.
Yeah.
And that's why we also recommend trying to surround yourself with native speakers, live in an international house where people are speaking English, or live with American people if you're in the U.S. And just throw yourself into it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. And the more languages, the better, right? I mean, learn English, learn all the languages that you want to. It's just a beautiful thing.
All right. Good luck.